Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Monday to all of you. It's good to see you. I'm excited to be hanging with you on this Monday mindset. Make sure, as always, let me know where you're watching from. I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up. We're going to go over two chapters tonight. Going to go over chapter 3 and 4. Good to see everybody. See Canada's in the house. What's going on? Nebraska's in the house. Good to see you. Kansas is in the house as always. Minnesota, out from the bend. What's going on? I am always out here on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. Excited to hang with all of you for a little bit. Maryland, what's going on? Good to see you, Patricia. Appreciate you being here. And yeah, tonight's going to be a powerful call. I'm excited about tonight's call. Got some really great what would you call it? Inspiration? I mean, again, I've read this book now. This will probably be my 7th or 8th time, 10th time reading this book, something like that. So for me, I'm reading it with a different mindset and pulling some really incredible stuff out of it. Missouri's in the house, California's in the house. Good to see all of you. North Idaho's here. What's going on? Make sure you take the next 60 seconds and text somebody. Let them know that Monday Mindset's going on and they got to be on here with us. Brian Heflin, appreciate you being here with us, brother. God bless you, man. Can't wait to see you soon. Lincoln, Nebraska's in the house. Grand Prairie, Texas. But like I said, yeah, make sure you're sending messages out. Let your team know Monday Mindset. Let's fill this call up. Let's get some activity on here. You don't have to be reading the book to be part of the book club. Leah, what's going on, sister? Been loving seeing all of your amazing transparency on social media as of lately. Love seeing you living your authentic self. Proud of you. But yeah, let's stack this call up. Got some great info. And like I've been saying, we are reading this month, Give and Take by Adam Grant, one of my favorite books, Give and Take by Adam Grant. If you'd like to get it and you'd like to get on Audible or Kindle or anything like that and read along with us, Kim, that is what we are reading. And so if you want to get caught up or just show up here and pull away some good nuggets every week. The hope is that you can pull away some good nuggets that are, because everything that we're looking to do, this book is all about really identifying in your life the givers, the takers, and really seeing where you fit in. Are you a giver? Are you a taker? Are you a matcher? Where do you fit in this picture? And it really helps us to craft a little bit of what we want to be and give us some good principles, some good ideas on how to do that better. And so I'm excited to jump into this with each and every one of you. We're going to get started here. I promise not to take too much of your time, but I do have 1 page, 2 pages, 2.5 pages of notes. So I got some notes we're going to be going through. Chapter number 3, I really liked, but I went through it pretty quick because the reality is, do me a favor, you know my favorite number, put a 5 in the comments if you have been reading Give and Take. If you are if you've been reading it with us, put a 5 in the comments and let me know if you've been keeping up with us as we've been going. Mary Dean, proud of you. Good to see those 5s in there. But chapter 3 is titled The Ripple Effect. And chapter 3 is really great because what the ripple effect really gets into, and there's a lot of stories, and that's why chapter 3, you get a lot of real life principles, a lot of real life stories built around Saturday Night Live and The Simpsons and Jonas Salk and Seinfeld. And there's a bunch of amazing stories on these writers and kind of the givers that they were and how they fostered greatness in their network. And it really talks about this ripple effect. And that's what I wanted to talk in chapter 3 about this evening. And I want to ask you guys all this question. What kind of environment are you fostering in your organization? Big or small? And I think this is sometimes a fallacy that network marketers get into, is they make the mistake of thinking that when my organization gets big, I'll then create the culture. When I have a big team, I'll create all the fun stuff. I'll do all the cool stuff. I'll do all that. When we've got the big organization, I want to challenge you to think, what kind of environment are you fostering in your organization right now, big or small? And then as this chapter goes on and talking about this ripple effect, I really want you to think, is my ripple benefiting me or is it hurting me? because this was a big thing that I had to kind of accept, is that we all make a ripple, good or bad. Every interaction, every conversation is making a ripple. Whether or not you want it to, it is. So I want you to ask yourself, is your ripple benefiting you or is it hurting you? I think, again, sometimes when we're building a business, that ripple we looked at, I've talked about in the past, is kind of forced value. We will turn on the positive ripples when we're in an environment that we feel like could benefit us. If that is you, if you're reading this book, you'll find yourself possibly in a mature state, which is when I see something that could bring me benefit, then I will bring benefit to that thing. But very important question as we start this conversation this evening, because the ripple effect goes deep. And we're going to talk about a lot of different stuff. We're going to talk about drama in your organization. We're going to talk about other network marketing companies. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff. So it's going to be a fun call. But I want you to really think about that. What kind of environment are you fostering in your organization? And are your ripples benefiting you or are they hurting you? I think it's very important that we all take ownership of our organizations. I think that sometimes, especially if you're new, especially if you're just getting started, it's very easy to pass blame onto your upline. It's very, very easy to pass the buck to somebody else, especially when you're just getting started. But I think that it's important that as leaders, we take ownership of our organizations and we take ownership of the energy that we bring into our space. It's like, this girl is just so dramatic. She's in my chat nonstop. Oh, she won't stop. You sponsored her. Like, come on. You brought her in. So ultimately, a minute and talk about this, looking for signs, the ripple effects, good or bad. Look for the signs when things begin to go wrong. You bring someone into your organization, or maybe they bring someone in, and you start to see a little drama. You start to see them fill up the chat with some negativity. Now, there's two things I want to say here. Number one is a very famous quote. Everyone here has heard it. I guarantee it. Put a 2 in the comments if you've heard this quote before. Drama dies when it hits a wise person's what? Drama dies when it hits a wise person's ears. But it's very important. It doesn't just, this is, drama dies when it hits a wise person's ears, I feel like is kind of lazy, in my opinion. It's very important to do so. But furthermore, what I wrote down here, a true leader will use that drama as a teaching moment. Because in my opinion, when drama comes into your organization, and if it hasn't yet, I promise you it will eventually, you can do one of 3 things. You can ignore it, you can feed it, or you can change it. I'm going to say that again. When drama comes into your organization, and if it hasn't yet, I promise you it will, you can do one of 3 things. You can ignore it, you can feed it, or you can change it. So again, these are teachable moments. These are very teachable moments when things come into your organization, where you have the opportunity to teach. Because sometimes I think that we get a little bit nervous that if we stand up or if we say, hey, that's not how we do things here, we don't really talk that way, or if we have issues or if we have concerns, we have a certain outlet in which we do those things. That feels uncomfortable because sometimes while your organization is in its growth state, you might be fearful that the wrong word might cause someone to leave. And I want to remind you that, again, we need to take ownership for the energy that we bring in to this space. So being factual in any conversation. I'm not really, again, when it comes, I don't know if that's in reference to something else in the chat, but my whole thing is it's not about like bashing them. It's not about like, I've seen some people, I avoid negativity, and I get it. Again, you can ignore it. Ignore it in my mind is kind of like the, it's not the best option, but it's better than feeding it. So feeding it is what? Getting in the chat and going, oh my gosh, I totally know, I get it. Oh my gosh, yeah, we deal with it too. That's feeding the drama. You want to see what an organization looks like that has no potential future success? Feed the drama in your organization. The second option is to ignore it. And I understand ignoring it. I get ignoring it. I get it because, but it's a lot of the times if you ignore it, it doesn't go away. A lot of the times you'll just keep going. It'll just keep going. And then it's almost like the elephant in the room that eventually becomes too uncomfortable to talk about anymore. A true leader will look for the signs when things are going to start to go wrong. They're going to look for them, and then they're going to use those as teachable moments. Hey, Taylor, I get that you're frustrated the back office wasn't working last night, but one thing that we do in our chat is we use our chat to do nothing but foster positivity and excitement. We have an incredible customer service team, and that team is usually what we rely on. Dedicated. They are dedicated to helping us solve those kinds of issues. And so going forward, let's make sure that we utilize them for what they're here for, and make sure that we keep our chat in the right vein that it needs to be. That's a positive teaching moment that stops it right there and doesn't keep it going. So just a little thought about, again, the ripple effect. What are you allowing to ripple in your organization? How can you look at others as allies, not enemies? This was another big one when it comes to the ripple effect. Because what kind of environment are you fostering in your organization? Other network marketing companies, other opportunities. Again, this is a place where I think a lot of network marketers mess up. You guys understand that if the Happy Co is the only company that wins, we lose. If every network marketing company shut down and everyone came and joined our company, we lose. Network marketing is done. We need lots of successful network marketing companies doing things the right way to continue to grow and elevate, validate our platform. So instead of when someone leaves and they go to XYZ company, if they decide that they would like to pursue an opportunity elsewhere, instead of saying, oh my gosh, those products are crap, and oh my gosh, they're so bad, and oh, I can't believe they would go over there, and I can't believe. I was talking to someone over at XYZ company. Did you know what products they have? If they only knew what we had over here, they'd be blown away. Gosh, my friend decided that he's going to open up a small business. What an idiot. If he only knew, he could be doing it so much better over here. How can you look at others as allies and not enemies in our space? Again, furthering the ripples, furthering the positive impact. I was having an incredible call with Peter and Carmela Sterling the other day. We were talking about this. So much impact that they have the ability to bring outside of network marketing. And we talked about how they could start to bring value into their network outside of the space that opens up the door. But sometimes we get pigeonholed. We get so focused that the only way I can bring value to you is through my business. And all other businesses in my path are less than. I've seen a lot of people leave this company, and I've seen a lot of people come back to this company. The people that have left and the people that have come back are usually the ones that were loved on when they decided, maybe for a short period of time, maybe for a little bit longer period of time, that their life was taking them in a different direction. They were wished well. Wish you the best. Things ever change, we're here for you. And things changed. And they came back to what they knew was always their home. A lot of them apologizing, saying, oh my gosh, I wish I wouldn't have done this. I'm so much further behind. But I want you to take into consideration. Now, this is behind the scenes stuff, right? This is the mindset stuff. This is the stuff that isn't when you're doing a prospecting call. This is the stuff that creeps into your mind when no one's around. The ripples, little ripples. I want you to start thinking about how you could bolster up other companies. I want you to see how that's going to only benefit you and strengthen your posture. Because if you're talking so good about other companies, your opportunity must be amazing. But if you've got to talk trash about a bunch of other companies, you must be reaching for straws when it comes to how good your stuff is. If you've got to tell me that every other opportunity out there outside of network marketing is trash besides network marketing, then you must be grasping at straws. But if you can, with me, show validity for my sister owns a small business. She's incredibly successful. My best friend's a real estate agent. He's incredibly successful. I'm so happy for these people. I've got friends that drive Uber. I got friends that do DoorDash. I got friends that do Amazon fulfillment. I support all of them. I wish them, I am so proud of all of them. And so I want you to think about that. If people decide to make a decision that isn't in the pursuit of what you might be doing, how can you leave a positive ripple with that person that potentially down the road could open the door to you working together? How are you inspiring greatness in those around you? I think so often we're looking for others to inspire greatness into us. Constantly, like you're going to personal development. You're looking for, greatness to be spoken into you. Like, I need some Les Brown. Give me a little Jim Rohn. Give me a little Eric Worre, your Tony Robbins. Give me a little something, right? How are you inspiring greatness in those around you? Because I want to remind each and every one of you, there's probably at least a handful of moments every single day where you have the opportunity to be a Jim Rohn in somebody's life. You have a Tony Robbins moment multiple times a day in people's lives, if you look for them. I think far too often we're looking for people to pour into us. I promise you, there is no greater feeling on the planet. It's almost selfish. There's no greater feeling. It cannot be replicated than to speak greatness into another human being that cannot do anything back for you. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about, again, instead of, where am I going to go to get my inspiration? Who am I going to go and inspire today? Become the Tony Robbins in your life. Chapter 4, finding a diamond in the rough. I love this chapter. And I mean, you guys go back and these are my notes. What I'm pulling from this chapter. what I am getting from these words of Adam Grant. And there's a lot of amazing stories in chapter 3 and the ripple effect, and a lot more I'm sure I could have covered. But for me, we could talk about the ripple effect for forever, but this is something that really, these are what stood out to me. Chapter 4, finding a diamond in the rough. The fact and fiction of recognizing potential. You've heard me say it before. Potential is cheap. This chapter kind of proved it. What have I said before? Potential is cheap. Everyone's got potential. I love this chapter. If you've read chapter 4 already, put a 5 in the comments for me. If you have already read chapter 4, I love this chapter. Now, it's going to sound like this chapter challenges what I talk about when it comes to potential, but it really doesn't. Again, the fact and fiction of recognizing potential. And I love that what a lot of this chapter talks about is in the past, they would use intelligence. They would use all these aptitude tests to identify potential. And for those of you that have not read the book, do you know what they use to now identify potential? Not any of that stuff. It is literally the fostering of potential into those candidates. There was multiple studies where teachers were literally told that 20% of their students, and they were given their names, tested way higher on an aptitude test than the others. And we're told that these 20% had a much higher chance of going somewhere, of becoming something in their life. Those 20% had no difference in their score from the other students whatsoever. But if you follow the potential, what happened because of the potential those teachers saw in those students and fostered in them, it was unbelievable. They were testing 10, 20% higher than some of the other students in the class. I mean, it was unbelievable. So, I mean, this tracks everywhere, in the military, everywhere. I mean, it's unbelievable. But what I want to talk about is the difference between fostering growth and potential and enabling laziness. Fostering potential or enabling laziness. They call them bloomers in chapter 4. Bloomers are the ones that they identified as the ones with a higher potential. And all I could think about this whole time is, how can you start to think of and treat your brand partners, your new team members, your organization as bloomers? Some of the attributes is they spoke more warmly to these people. They called on them more often. They gave them more challenging assignments. I want you to think about how you can start to identify some bloomers in your organization. I want you to think about the warmth that you can speak to them with. Imagine if I just brought you on my team. Imagine I just signed you up and you just joined my organization. And instead of, this is what we do, this is how we get started, this is what everyone does, this is the getting started plan, this is, make a list, I'm going to help you go through your list, how many people have put a 2 in the comments if you've done something like that? What if instead you identified them as a bloomer? Right, Lynn? What if you identified them as a bloomer? What if you said, Lynn, normally when people get started, we have them go through this plan and stuff like that, where we have them reach out to so many people in a week and kind of thing. We get their list built and stuff like that. But I want to be really honest with you, Lynn. I see something in you. And I don't just say this, but I see something special in you, and I feel like you might have the ability to do something that very, very few people have the ability to do here. And so I want to give you a little bit of an extra challenge this week, if you're up to it. How can we talk in a little different way that's going to start creating bloomers in our organization that are wanting to exceed our expectation, that are wanting to overachieve, that are wanting to run faster than we could ever expect them to? A lot of that, I believe, again, called on more often. Just had a new person join. Lynn, I'm so excited that you just joined. Wanted to let you come on and share a little bit of your testimony. I know you're doing a bunch of stuff this week. You already got a bunch of calls lined up. Super excited to get a couple of your first people in and running with the system that we got going. Would love to hear a little bit about your story. Call on them a little bit more often, especially when they're brand new. And speak to them warmly. Fostering greatness. I also believe wholeheartedly that having a profound belief in others will increase your own belief in yourself. I think that sometimes we're waiting for someone to pour that, like I said last time, we're waiting for someone to pour that belief in us. I promise you, your belief will skyrocket through the moon. Your belief will skyrocket. When you start to really have a profound belief in others. I loved this part. Matchers will wait for the signs of potentials. Givers see it in everyone. They talked a lot about this. I won't talk much about takers because, I don't believe many of you are takers, but again, matchers will wait for the signs of the potential in their organization. That's another hardship. You get someone engaged and you're like, oh, I just signed them up. If they get running, I'm going to pour the gas on them. You're going to be waiting for a long time with a lot of people, especially if you're not putting them into a bloomer category and giving them a chance to run, giving them a chance to overexceed. If they just feel like they're one of the 80%, they're going to act like an 80%er. If you make them feel like a 20%er, they might just become one. Givers see potential in everyone, but they also see that this isn't for everyone. Givers see that again, fall in love with the fact that this has nothing to do with you. Givers see, again, this is strength. Tiffany joined my business. She's been doing this for 3 or 4 months now. She hasn't had any success. And I understand that Tiffany is really stuck in an employee mindset. Tiffany isn't really an entrepreneur, nor does she want to be. Having the strength to say, I don't want you to continue to be frustrated. I don't want you to continue to be upset. This might not be for you. And I'm saying that because I love you. But I think it's the ability sometimes to not hang on so tight to what it is that we want and to think way more about what it is our network is in desire of. And I know that can be scary sometimes, but I promise you, once you leap, once you make this decision, once you decide, your organization will become what you've always wanted it to be. Finding a diamond in the rough also comes down to posture. Posture is huge. How many diamonds in the rough do you think you're going to find by going, hey, do you want to take a look at what I'm doing? How many diamonds in the rough do you think you're going to find saying, hey, like, if you've got 20 minutes, If you got 20 minutes, I'd love to share something with you I think that you'd really like. I think it could be really cool for you. I think you might, I think it could, I think it could help with some money. I think it could benefit. Do you got 20? Think you're going to find a lot of diamonds in the rough like that? Or do you think you're going to find a lot of diamonds in the rough by saying, you know what, Carrie, I see something special in you. Something special in you. I talk to people all day long for a living. It's my job. It's my job to build relationships. And what I found in you is something special. I genuinely believe that you have the ability to do something that very, very few people have the ability to do. And if you're willing, if you're coachable, I'll show you the way. That person is getting off the phone going, I don't know where we're going or what we're doing, but I'm ready. The person on the first phone call is getting off going, I feel like I'm doing this person such a massive favor right now. Like, okay, like, sure, like, sounds good. I'll help you out. Great. Whatever you need. I'm your friend. I got your back. The second person's going, I don't know what we're doing, but I want to go with that person where they're going. I feel good when I get off the phone with that person. I feel better about myself. Think about this. How many people, when you're prospecting, making phone calls, get off the phone with you and feel better about themselves than when they got on the phone with you in the first place? This book touches on 10,000 hours, and this is what I kind of want to wrap up with here for this evening. Give yourself a break. Experts all over the world say it takes, on average, 10,000 hours before you can call yourself an expert at anything. And as professional network marketers, as professional entrepreneurs, our 10,000 hours does not come in through comp plan education or product science knowledge. It's not going to get you anywhere. Our 10,000 hours comes in through personal development, through mindset training. But it's not just 10,000 hours spent listening and learning. It's spent 10,000 hours spent listening, learning, and applying. Plan, do, review is the crux of what I live all of my life on. I have a plan, do, review for the day. I have a plan, do, review for the week. I have a plan, do, review for the month. I have a plan, do, review for the quarter. I have a plan, do, review for the year in multiple areas of my life, in my family, in my work, in my spiritual journey, in my health journey. I have so many plan, do, reviews. I am consistently going back to the drawing board and saying, how can I tweak it to make it a little bit better? I want to remind you guys, so many of you are just getting started on your journey of 10,000 hours. You're just getting started. And it's a beautiful thing because the greatest part about network, you get to earn while you learn. How many doctors are getting paid while they're in medical school? Give yourself some credit for how far you've come so far with the time that not only you spent learning, but you spent applying. Because the biggest thing, you could have pages and pages and pages of notes. If they're not applied, they're nothing. And I just saw someone ask that for the book that just joined the company. I couldn't be more excited that you are a part of this family. The book that we are reading this month is Give and Take by Adam Grant. Give and Take by Adam Grant, one of my favorites. And I hope you choose to get it and come take part with us. We are covering chapters 3 and 4 this week. We're going to cover chapters 5 and 6 next week. This was the last thing I wanted. And this is something I'm working on. This is a lesson I'm working on. But when it comes to being present, when it comes to the ripple effect, finding a diamond in the rough, posture is another big piece. And your phone is a big piece of that. I watched Jordan Peterson talking a little bit about phone. And he did this experiment while he was sitting in an auditorium. Some of you might have seen this video. And he pulled his phone out of his hand and he asked the entire auditorium, he said, with this phone in my hand, do any of you feel like you're the most important thing in the room to me right now? And everyone said no. I feel like, and this is something I'm working on too, very important. When we are in the presence of other people and having conversations, the presence of this makes a difference. And I want you to be aware of that. I started taking note of people like Tony Robbins, my father, Les Brown, all these individuals, people that I've been blessed to be able to spend time around. Whenever I've had a conversation with them, their cell phone has never been in sight. Not on them, not in their hand, not there, they're not looking, it's not sitting on the table, it's not anywhere around. And I started thinking about that, and I started thinking of my own life, with my spouse, with my children, with my friends, with my family. How often is this device in my hand? And how often are those in my life that I'm communicating with feeling like they're not a priority? So again, a final lesson in posturing: when in conversation, don't just put your phone down, put it away. Trust me when I tell you that those that you're conversing with, whether or not they say anything, will notice. And the energy and the potential of finding a diamond in the rough will dramatically go up. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so wildly grateful for each and every one of you. I'm excited about this chapter that we're running into together. I'm so excited for convention coming up. I hope each and every one of you are registered. Please get registered. You do not want to miss convention. End of September, early October. Next week, we're going to be covering chapters 5 and 6, the power of powerless communication and the art of motivation maintenance. These are going to be big chapters. Make sure you get your team on, even if they're not reading. Come on and hang out with us for 30 minutes or so. We're going to be talking about some great stuff. So as always, wishing you abundant blessings, wishing you nothing but happiness, wishing you nothing but safety, and looking forward to seeing you on all the calls we got coming up this week. Until then, bye for now.